at least the demonstration part you can record, na? You start.
Demonstration part, okay.
After that, when you will demonstrate, you should record.
Oh, so this is the home page of the course. In this home page, there is a lab assignment section. There is a assignments for computer lab, and in this lab I have posted the session 1 and today's problem. If we go to this part, and you will find that there are two problems which has been posted here. The first problem is the simple one that we have already done in the class, and this is basically to compare among the two variables. Yeah. And in this problem, you try to code these things in the C programming language, where the first instance will consider the variables as an integer. So you declare the variables A and B as an integer, and then assign some value, and then you can get that which one of the is larger. Then we have to change the variable types, means from the integer types to characters. So instead of int a comma b, you can modify this statement using CHAR. CHAR is basically the abbreviation for the character. So now we have to declare the variables as a character, and then we assign the variables with the capital A and the small a, and try to see, and let's see how it will react, how the program will react on this changes here. So this is the first problem that we'll try to solve in this session. And then there is a second problem you have to try for this as a homework, or if we have time we can discuss on this part. And this is basically a little bit of complexity with the if-else conditions. There are one or more than one conditions you have to check. In this problem, it is basically to compute the roots of a quadratic equation. And when we compute the roots of the quadratic equation, we first determines, or we first check whether the coefficient A is not equals to 0. If the coefficient A is equals to 0, then this equation does not belongs to a quadratic part. Okay. So the first checking we have to perform that the coefficient A is not equals to 0. Then we have to check the discriminator. Discriminator is basically b square minus 4ac, and if b square minus 4ac is negative, then we cannot compute the roots. That will be a imaginary part. Otherwise, we can compute the roots. And then again, we have to check whether discriminator is equals to 0. If the discriminator is equals to 0, then the equation has only one root. Otherwise, it will have two roots. Okay. So that is that we have to organize our program into multiple blocks, and then we can write the program. So the first problem that we want to solve is basically comparing the two variables. Okay? And as I have already shown in the slide, I can also show the slides. The thing is that in this problem, what we will understanding the structure of the blocks, the conditional blocks in a very simplest way, and we also try to understand that how the declarations of the variables changes, and how they will be reacting on the change. Okay. So our first our first thing is this one. This is the problem. This is the code, and this code is basically to check whether the variable a is large or the variable b is large. Understand? Is it,
Sir,
hello?
your voice is not clear.
Sir, your audio is breaking sometimes.
Oh, acha.
Yes, sir.
Then means are you able to get the point? Shall I
Yes, sir. Yes,
shall
sir.
I
Yes,
shall I
sir.
repeat these things?
No, sir.
Okay. So let us do the programming. I will put this structure into this whiteboard, and I will not put the whole code, but I will put the structure of the code, and you have to do the final code. Okay. So let me work it here. So there is a include dot h. Then we have to write name, and this is the block. There will be return 0. Okay. Then I have declared int. Then there is a variable, another variable. So, and then we initialize the variable with say something 20. Then the second variable with say 200. Then we will have if there is a condition, and this is the block. And then we have a statement here. Then else the block starts in this way. And finally, uh, return 0 and the close. Okay. So this is the if, this is the else, and you have to fill the part in this way. Okay. So how the printf will work? It will work something like this. Printf within quote, you have to write some sentence. Okay. So every statement will terminate with a semicolon. This statement will terminate with a semicolon. This one terminates with a semicolon. This is the starting of a block. So there is no semicolon. It is by the starting curly bracket, the starting of the block. This is the end of curly bracket. And within the block, we will have statements which will be terminated with a semicolon. Okay.
Sir,
Yes.
sir, as we are declaring the variables as integer in the same line, then in the same way we can also assign the values of the two variables in the same line too by giving a
No, no,
comma.
no. This statement is wrong. Like uh, if we can, if we are writing a equals to 20, comma b equals to 30, this statement is incorrect. Actually, this is the statement, so you have to terminate this thing with a semicolon. This is another statement. You have to terminate this thing with a semicolon. Okay. Rather, int a comma, this is uh, basically a shorthand. If you write C, so these are the elaborated declaration, or this is the native declaration. So C will provide you some shorthand mechanism. So I can just concatenate the declaration in a single statement. Clear? Understand? So this is just a shorthand representation, but there is no shorthand representation for the operator. So this is basically an operation, assignment operation. So there is no shorthand for the operations. Understand? Clear?
Sir, when I was giving comma between these two assignments, then also it was working.
Which one? This one.
Yes, sir. The statements of assignment.
No, it should not work.
No, you have written probably int a equal to 20, comma b equal to 30 like that. I mean, you have
Oh,
combined
acha, acha. You have
declaration
written
and
something.
No,
initialization.
sir. I have given the declaration and the assignment on different lines.
But then you have used semicolon in between,
No, sir. I have given comma.
comma.
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay, we'll see. But it should not work.
This should
Uh,
not work actually. Some compiler may allow you, but actually from
Sir,
C's point of view,
I am using the same compiler for both C and C++. So for that also it can happen.
no, I mean
okay.
C and C++, there are lots of compiler nowadays. Some may
Yes.
allow, but anyway, what Jaideep sir has trying to, I mean, say
Okay, sir.
that delimiter should be semicolon. You can write two statement in the same line, okay,
Yes, sir.
but
But
you have to delimit with semicolon. But it is not recommended. Always try to write readable code, okay. That's
Okay,
why
sir.
we used to write in separate statement on separate line.
yes, this is indentation. We call these things indentation in such a way that as I have written the program, so it is easy to read. So it says that this is the start of the block, then there is a tab. This says that this is uh, inside the block. There is another tab. It be written in a
Okay, sir.
straight means in a single line, but it is not readable. Understand? So write a program in such a way that a second person or somebody else can read your program easily. Understand? So you write a program in such a way that I will not have difficulties to read your program. Okay. So in that way, we use separate lines. Sometimes we use some
Sir,
indentations to
sir,
yes.
sir, I've completed writing. It is showing that there is a conflict in declaration that char a comma
Okay,
b.
I'll check.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So I'll check. I'll check. But people, students, you try to do these things, and I will stop the recording, and if and I will check the somebody is waiting. I think who is this? Shomojit Mujit. So I stop the recording, and you people keep on writing your code, and then we'll take one by one. Okay.
Sir, can you please open the main screen where the questions are written?
Main screen. No? Yes, this one.
Yes, sir.
This is available. Means if you have enrolled yourself in the module, you can download this sheet. Understand? In the module, like where is that? Just
Okay, sir.
just in the module, you scroll down at the end of the topics. You will click on this sessional one, and then these things will be available. Okay, get it? So let me put this one in the screen. So we'll wait for say 15 minutes, and then we'll take some of your presentations. Okay. Second program where the variables are characters. Okay. Do you get this point?
Okay, sir.
Sir,
Oh, yes.
sir, I want to show the assignment part.
Which one?
Sir,
First
the
one.
first problem. Yes, sir.
Okay. Let me just go for the second part. Then I'll check. I will come back. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So in our second program, so there are a x square plus bx plus c equals to 0. And to find the roots of these things, we what is the output of the program? The output is if we think as a black box, then we are providing the variables a, b, and c. Clear? Then I can also make a recording. Okay. So in the second problem, we have given a quadratic in this form. And to solve the quadratic means I have to compute the roots. So we can think these things as a black box. And what is the input to this black box is basically A, B, and C. Understand? So these three variables we have to put into the computation. Then inside this computation, it will compute the discriminator, which is D, and this D is B square minus 4A. And depending on this value of D, we do some logic operations, we do some branching, etc., etc. And then finally we'll output the value of X, which will be there may be three conditions or three cases. One is minus B by 2A, otherwise it will be minus B plus the square root of D square, square root of D by 2A, and minus b minus square root of d by 2. Okay, so these are the four possible solutions. So these are the solutions when discriminator is greater than 0. This is the solution when discriminator is 0, and otherwise we have no solution. Okay, so how do we compute d? The statement for computing d is b square. B square means I have to write b into b uh, within parentheses 4 into A into C. So the multiplication operation in C is basically the star. So we have to place the star, then this looks like a B star B. That means I am multiplying B into B. Okay. Then there is a minus sign, then 4 star A star C. That means I am performing 4 into A into C. Okay. Yeah, get it? And how do we compute the square root? The square root may be computed as SQRT. So there is a function. Let me write the problem. So it looks like include DIOH, then include math.h, then there is a mean, and within mean, when I have to compute the square root, I call SQRT, then D, say it stores the things in a variable R. So this R will be the positive part of the square root of D. Okay, understand? So this is basically a function as similar as the printf function. So it takes this function looks like a black box. I am putting D as an input. It computes the square root and it returns the value as an R. Okay. Then I can use this R uh, as a plus R and a minus R in my subsequent uh, computation. Okay.
Sir, here you have to take an input or assign the.
Input we have not discussed yet. So we
Okay.
assign the values.
Okay.
So input as we discuss how can we take the input, then we can also work on that part. Okay. So you just assign some values and check how it will be work. So this problem is basically to organize the if-else condition in a more complex condition, in a more complex scenarios. Okay. So there are three levels of checking. You have to do these things. Okay. So let me get back into the part. Okay, so there is a who is the next? We have Shomik Roy Choudhury. Is that Shomik Roy Choudhury?
Yes, sir. Sir.
So yeah,
Yes, sir. Sir, can you see the screen?
yes.
Sir, here in this the second first one.
First one, okay, character AB. Oh, fine. So what are the other things? Integer ABC.
Sir, integer is on the above.
No, there are some other codes we are seeing. You go scroll down. Okay.
Sir,
These are the three variables. A, B, C. No, okay, dear. You write separate problem, that means separate files.
okay,
Understand?
sir.
Somehow you have
Sir,
to submit the files. Okay.
okay, sir. Sir, can I run this
So
one, sir?
yes,
The
tell
first
me.
one, sir. This one.
No, I understand. It will work.
No, sir.
This
I'm
is
telling
this
that
is just to run.
this is also working if I assign in the same line, sir. In this way,
Okay, okay.
sir. If I try to run the code, then, sir, it's
Hmm.
displaying that the element B is larger than A. Sir, here I have assigned in the same line. Then also it is working.
Oh, it is working. Maybe if you put a semicolon, then what will be the output? You get it to the previous one.
Yes, the same output. Though.
Same thing.
Yes, sir.
The element B is larger than F. Okay.
And in and I have done a part of the second problem, sir. Sir, this part.
Then complete this one. Actually,
Okay, sir.
there are first else. Okay, else print the quantity dimensions. But think say the as just the first thing that I want to say. So if A is equals to 0,
Yes, sir.
understand? Then the quadratic equation is not the equation is not quadratic. Clear? Then
Yes.
this statement is true. Then otherwise we have to compute. Get it? So if
Yes,
this
sir.
condition is false, clear? Then
Yes.
I have to compute the following part. But if the condition is true, I
Okay,
need
sir.
not to compute the
So
following part.
I will do that in the if block.
In the else
Yeah.
block whole in this is fine. If A equals to 0, you have to print these things and your program will end here. Understand? So rather all the other computation you have to put into the else block. So this else block
Okay,
should
sir.
not terminate at the line number 50. This else block should terminate at the end of your program. Get it?
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Understand? So
Sir,
the meaning is that if you put A equals to 0, still your
yes,
program will run. Still your program will run with the following statements.
yes, sir. I have to do the all the statements in the else block.
Yes, yes. The
As
whole
the
yes.
equation will be quadratic, then we will do all the other
So all your
this type of
yes,
things.
all the following things will be in the else block. Understand?
Okay, sir.
Get
Understood.
it? Yes. So fine.
And also
So
another point, since you are using a C++ compiler,
Yes.
declaring a variable anywhere in the program is accepted. Okay, just like in D you have declared uh,
Okay.
in the
So the
else
scope
block.
is different if I declare in the block. Okay, sir.
No, not only scope. I mean, since you are writing a single function, In C, it is recommended that you declare all the variables in top of a function. Okay, so
Okay,
since
sir.
you are writing on the main function, so all the variables which you will be using should be declared at the beginning.
Okay,
Okay,
sir. So we will declare all the variables that we will use at the beginning of the main function.
uh, all the
Yes,
variables of the
yes,
main function.
yes.
I mean, when you will write programs later, that will there you will use more than one function. Excluding main, you may define your own function. Then for each function body, you have to declare the variable of that particular function on top of that block. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So now, since you are only doing only one main block, so it is okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, one doubt is there.
Yes. So keep on. Yes.
Sir, when I'm
Yeah.
writing the code with the printf statement, it is printing in the same line. Sir, if I'm writing three, four printf statements, so how to do it in other lines? Like,
Oh, अच्छा. So there is a special character. Say, just I show you. Mm, so in my program, it is visible now. My code is visible.
Yes, sir. It is visible.
yes, sir.
Okay. So there is a slash n. This slash n is called the new line. So if you put a slash n, then the next statement will be printed as a new line. So by if you run this thing, you'll see it will something like this. Understand? So the next statement is coming as a new. This statement is coming as a new line in this one. Get it? Understood?
Yes, sir.
So
Yes, sir.
let me do one more thing. Say I put a new line here. Then there will be three lines. The first line element B is then this line is end. Then a new line is constructed larger. That is also ended here. A new line will be there, and this will be the part. So see. So element B is the first line is done. Then a new line is printed here. So cursor comes here. Then larger. Again a new line is printed here. Cursor comes here, and element A is larger. Okay. So these are this symbol is used for a new line. You can put multiple new lines in this way. Say doing these things, it will putting multiple new lines. Okay. Understand?
Yes,
Get it?
sir.
Good.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Stop.
Sir, I'm getting an error in the SQRT.
Those yes, those. So now you take those who are getting some errors in the compilation or executions. Okay, so you show me.
Okay, sir, showing.
Yeah, he,
Sir, is the screen visible?
yes, your screen is visible. Okay, that's it without separate.
Sir, here I am getting an error. Hello, sir, am I audible?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
You should. Could you please make the font size a little bit larger? I mean, you can go to.
No, at the line number two, you come at line number two. So you have to include a math library. So write slash include.
Mathematic. Now you save and recompile.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir, it is running now.
Actually, you are using SQRT function, na? That For that, you
Yes,
have to include math to teach me.
sir, this one is the first program.
Suggested by sir, you need to change the data type to character. I think you should write another program. Same
Sir,
thing. You
okay.
should be character. Oh, character you have already. I mean, you can
No,
just.
actually, I did it in one program.
Okay, I understand. You'll comment and uncomment
Yeah,
accordingly.
yeah.
Okay, that's fine. Anyone else who are getting some error?
Sir,
Anyone else
then
is there who is getting some
stop my
error?
share. Sir, I'm stopping my share then.
Okay, okay. Joydeep,
Hello.
ah, বলছে, call some random name because what I am observed that those who are familiar in coding they are showing.
I
Okay,
am having a problem, sir.
Sagni,
Okay.
Yes,
you present, and then we'll call some random name. I think those who are new in programming they are not actually getting and they are hesitating to raise their hand and so we'll call